So several months ago, I started to discuss prepping again. Okay, when we started to go through the energy changes. So for those that are new viewers, okay, I'm just going to do an overview real quick. I talk about off-grid living. I talk about solar flares. I talk about geopolitics. I talk about paranormal. And I'm into comparative religion, but I'm not religious. But I do believe that we need to respect God and not destroy its creation. And I'm different. I have a different type of a history that's different than a lot of people in the truth movement. And preparedness. I talk about preparedness, and I have a history in working for a survival store. That was an interesting experience in 2010, 2011. Would never consider myself to be an expert, and I've had to prep and move, and prep and move. And I've prepped in 2007, long time ago, with like an old girlfriend and roommate, and all my stuff is gone. I'm not here to whine, right? I'm just here to like say I'm kind of dealing with what I call prepper PTSD. I just made up the term. It's PTSD that comes from the trauma of prepping, and because maybe you got involved in truthing and standing up for off-gridders being kicked off their land. That was the other thing that I've done a lot of coverage of. If you want to look at if you're new here and you haven't gone yet to the front page, take a look at those Costia County videos if you're curious. They're not in order. So issues like that are important too. So that when these events happen, we have somewhere safe to go. This is why I gave it all. For even people that believed things different than me politically. And I believe, just so you know, in creating content for people, even though I say sometimes if you have a certain belief or whatever, or you're partisan, this content's not for you, there still is things, though, that you can learn where I don't talk partisan at all. Okay, so my goal is to help where I can and to be nice where I can. But some days I'm not going to be in a good mood and I'm going to rant and I'm going to yell, just so you know. Okay, so you get a variety of tones from me. It's kind of like different songs from different artists that you might listen to. Sometimes I'm even thinking about color coding, like how much personal story sharing is there, like 10%, 20% ratio. What is it, 80% news? How much free flow? Just so you have an idea, like what's in the cocktail. So let's talk CB radios, because with this is going to be a video under 10 minutes. You can go about your way. You want a longer podcast or video? Go to Substack. Long podcast at Substack. We're going to do this quick. Big day today, by the way. Big day today. I talked about it on the podcast. Found out that my megaphone's broken. When you buy stuff from eBay, from China, make sure it works right away. Keep your receipt. I didn't take care of that properly. So I'm out, $30. It's okay. Saw somebody with some Patriot stickers. I'm not a big fan of AJ, you know that. But when it comes to 9/11, sometimes something takes over me. And I'm just like, 9/11 was a boom. AJ was right. And dude's like, came up at me in the mall. I was ready for him, but he didn't come. But he took note. He's like, I'm getting your number, buddy. Anyhow, sometimes when the sun is active, and boy is it active for like a day now. I've been giving you advice for months before this. And I think what I'm doing is the right thing, and it's not out of line with any of your religions or lack of religion, just understanding magnetism. So part of it is not just discussing the sun itself, but the news taking place. There is an FF event, false F event. It is taking place in Russia, and the videos, well, I tried to show it last night in a long stream, and they shut it down. You might have noticed that. I'll re-upload it. I'll edit it out and re-upload my stream, but I'm getting tired. It's been a long day. Usually I do not feel well after consuming alcohol. I feel fine. I woke up at 10. I went to bed at 6. I woke up at 10. I'm like, here we go again. Let's do it again. Wheels turning round and round and turning back. Jack, do it again. And it was off to the races. And I'm literally like loading my megaphone like one would load something else. And I'm looking to my left and right in the parking lot, seeing if anybody's, I see some African-American man come out. He's talking to himself. And I'm like, yep, he hasn't gotten a vitamin D today. And he's having the mental health symptoms. He's feeling the geostorms. I feel you, bro. But yeah, he was definitely talking to himself. People aren't well here. That's why I spoke out in the open and even let my neighbors hear me the other day. When I was discussing meditation and other things, I don't care. It's like that song from Phil Collins. I don't care anymore. You hear? I don't care no more. My audio settings are screwed up. I'm using the headset right now. I think I'm using the headset. I'm wearing the headset. I think that's what's going on. Headset. And the headset is not the highest quality. I am looking for a new USB mic. Okay, if you have a suggestion, feel free to let me know. I'm posting slides of news all the time. And we're seeing the geomagnetic storm. And so when you see me post that, stop, take a look and listen. Bump, bump, bump. No, I'm kidding. You want to take a deep breath and go through it. We'll do a guided meditation without me going off into other areas at some point. I'll just make the determination. We're just going to be in meditative mode, not rant mode. And we'll just do like a meditation with prayer. Because you really want to bring in God with your meditation. Some people meditate without the God force, and then other stuff comes in. We want to ask God to come in and ground out the interference. I walked in the mall today and said, praise Jesus. As people are looking at me after yawning about, yeah, I'm going to talk about Jesus and 9/11 together. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about this and move on. Open to your advice, because it hit me. Okay? So this is our customary 6-minute intro. Okay? Here we go. I have in my hand what you've seen on video. And I don't know, I don't remember exactly where I bought this, but I'm guessing I bought this at maybe the Durango thrift store in Colorado, maybe, or maybe I bought it in Pagosa Springs. I don't recall using this in Pagosa Springs. It pretty much sat the whole time in a box. CB radios nowadays, right, one guy said there's no activity on CB radios except for 19. Now, I'm in a less rural area now, but there is access to some rural areas, but it's not like rural Oregon or Colorado. Like, you can get rural, but it's not like, that. The rural sucks. Some of the rural is nice. And by the way, I go on walks now. Today I went walking. Through a graveyard. Yeah. A pond. I went and talked to the birds, the ducks. Cried by the water a little bit. Felt the sun come through. The rain. Was going to do a podcast but in a church parking lot at a cross. And then I opened up my computer to record and the audio wouldn't work. Why would my audio settings be changed after? And I did a coast to coast radio show and I was trying to record video and my video froze on my computer. Just so you know, like when you talk about the controllers or interference, I totally see the non-human forces as doing stuff to my computer and us and running the AI algorithm. Okay, so here we are. If we're in a situation where there's an EMP grits down situation, what are you going to do? And if you want to communicate with your community, either for resources or to just truth them, do you have a plan? It's unfortunate that Kyle Jacob Butler and I didn't hit it off and become friends, because Kyle Jacob Butler had an interest in low power FM. And because I'm a dummy, I deleted the videos of him where I was basically showing off that he was smart and stuff. That was really, really stupid of me to delete those videos of him just because he demanded that I delete them off the internet. I should at least made backups. That's what happens when you smoke too much pot. You don't have CBD. Anyway, not to judge you if you're doing that. I'm just taking accountability. You get too stoned, you get paranoid, you're sitting out there in your RV, you haven't bathed in a couple days or weeks or whatever, as what was the case when that guy messaged me. And he's like, bro, if you don't take down those videos, okay, if you calling me out about what a scumbag I am without him saying that, I'm going to do something to you. And he threatened me, and he did. And the rest is history. Anyway, people like that I hung out with and tried to meet because I was trying to meet people to prep for the end times. And the first thing I said to the guy when I met him in 2013 at that Costilla County parking lot is, I'm here to warn the people about China, about what's coming with China. I've been saying that, folks, since 2007. And I think that we're getting closer to at least attacks on the grid. And Russia's already been doing certain things, and it's too bad some people think that it's just the U.S. government. Okay, so whether it's the U.S. government or Russia, you got to prep anyways. What about the idea of a radio show in urban or suburban areas with handheld radios? Now, I have a GE 40-channel CB radio. You can look it up on eBay. Let me give you the model number, and I'll drop you a link to an individual who has a channel who's discussing CB radios. And he's basically discussing the quality of these radios. And what I'm trying to make the decision is, say, if I was to work with others in the future, do you think that these CB radios, I need to get a group going for you to answer me and encourage you to join that group. So you just click over and you join the group. And if somebody wants to think about one in the next month, I want a group with maybe 5 to 10 active members. You all don't need to join. But just have a group of 5 to 10. We do have a Substack, but that's not really, it doesn't seem to have a forum set up per se. But we want to talk. How do you communicate with your neighbors during an emergency? And we also want to continue to do podcasts. I'm going to continue to be your life coach in this solar cycle. How might you truth your community, either in this eclipse or beyond? What do you need to say? What do you need to talk about? Is there some really bad mofos in your town planning to kidnap women or do stuff? Do you know their names? Do you know what they're doing? Is there something you can report on without getting shot in your community and let people know that there's a bad operation in town, be it cartel or others? Do you see the spirit that I'm coming at you with? I've always seen myself as a they live content creator when this shit's the fan. So I got to prepare myself for this. That's what this is. They Live. Yes. They Live was a documentary to a certain degree, as AJ says. Although I really don't want to cite him and start backtracking, since I moved my life forward so greatly without him. I just want him to be proud of me because I was proud of him when I discovered him. That's all. Even if we see differently, I want him to be proud of me. I want the former president to be proud of me. Okay. If he's capable, and those around him that know me, that know him. Friends of me and friends of Trump, right? They're out there. Trump, of course, he's not really a friend of me, but he talked to me multiple times. In the Obama years, folks, people respected me for being a young man in a suit, for having a TV show on cable TV, not just being a boob tuber. And I did lots and lots and lots of radio, too, with music. Awesome music. And all that's gone. Because sometimes when you're manly, and you're masculine, and you're opinionated, and you're ethnic, and you cry on the air because you get kicked out because you hate Obama, or you don't like Obama. Now, I don't hate Obama, for you, those of you that lean left that added me, and you're welcome here too. You're welcome here on the left and right, as long as you allow me to be me and criticize the people that you may have gone along with. Some people, no matter what I say about the people they vote for and listen to, they stick around and they continue to allow me to be me. So I try to give back to you energetically and allow you to be you. And I do think that we need to have an energetic truce regardless of our ethnicities, politics, and location on the earth. That we have to have a unification. If you want to participate in like a joint meditation over a symbol, try to ditch the conspiracy fear vibration for it. And already prepare yourself with a powerful shield around your body. Okay, so I think that it would be an interesting concept, though, to be going to different spots before the grid goes down and testing where people might be if they're using CB radio. So what I'm going to do is start doing an investigation and watch a few videos. Watch a few videos on the, because I'm feeling the solar inspiration. I'm feeling the solar inspiration, and I almost got into it with a guy at the mall for calling out the 9/11 lie and citing AJ, even though I'm not a fan of that. But it just came out. Then he came in to get a look at me, and I talk about in the podcast, it's weird because right before that happened, like I was thinking about the power of the eyes and the aura and how it's stronger during the geostorm. And so people will respond when the geostorm happens, but they might also be freaked out by the extraordinarily senses that they're feeling from someone else's field or what they're seeing from their eyes. And, you know, that look that I have in the eyes, it's pretty intense. And if I'm like angry looking, and I could actually be like emotional and thinking and be looking super pissed off when I'm not, to like strangers, and get that double, triple look. It's quite annoying. It's quite annoying. So I see myself testing out gas station stops. If there are people out there that are truckers that are more savvy with the CV radio, what would be good is to maybe, like, what if I was to go somewhere where the receiver would be? Or what if I was to contact people in advance at radio stations that are being concerned about the grid going down, and I contact them with a YouTube channel made just for them, because I have like 5 channels, just so you know, 5 channels, 6 channels. You know about 5, you don't know about a few others. But I don't have any viewers on the others. It's just, here's my card, check it out. Here's my card, check it out. And you have like a dummy channel, like, you know, John Doe 235 mofo, you know what I mean? Like, D's nuts, whatever. Jane Fonda. Yeah. Now you can get a voice changer if you want to pay a few bucks, and you could sound like Donald Trump. I'm Donald Trump, and I want to warn you about white supremacy or something. I'm Joe Biden, and I want to tell you about the beauty of the ethno-state under the left wing in Portland. Whatever. Have some fun with it, but be moral. Be moral. But yeah, you want to pay a few extra bucks, you can sound like the former president. It's just crazy. Maybe you want to sound like Bush. Here's another war, folks. Yep. Yeah, I was talking about Arnold last night, by the way. Arnold Schwarzenegger, former governor. He was all about calling out Nazis, but yet there he was, like, cheering on like the wars overseas. I know some would agree that's Nazi. I get it, but there were war crimes overseas, and I don't know that Arnold cares about that. If he doesn't care about that, then his argument against Nazis because of Trump is weak. And a lot of people on the left and during the Bush years that act like they're so different, they need to look in the mirror. But they did pave the way for the current destabilization. And they're not taking accountability for that. Okay? Instead of the left-right bipolar, lean one way or the other, how about it's about good versus evil? I know we may think some issues are good versus evil, but some moral issues are not left or right. Okay, I want to keep this focused on the CB radio, but I can't just talk about. I just can't have one ship. I just can't, there's a geostorm right now. Say you now know I'm affected by this. I hope. Like, yeah, you didn't see how upset I got last night off camera. We'll just put it that way. It was like, oh my God, I need to get like out of here. but that was when I went, okay, so this is why they created alcohol. That's right. That's why. And yeah, up till 5:30. Okay, yeah. So, check it out on eBay. They got multiple CB radios of this model for $30. I got mine for $9, and I'm watching one guy on YouTube. So I'm thinking maybe I should get an attachment for this. This probably doesn't have an attachment at all, but there may be other. I'm not. Now the next thing is this. When I left the land, I left everything. Except, I took my babies with me. Yep. No, I'm talking about my solar panels. Yeah. 250-watt solar panels. As far as the nasty-ass batteries and whatnot. And former friend named John, he took me to Pueblo to get golf cart batteries for cheap. Now that I'm in a semi-urban area, I might be able to get golf cart batteries for cheap. I think I found a charge controller. Inverter. I just need cables, an inverter, and a golf cart battery. I don't know if I need 2 golf cart batteries. And if there's something other than a golf cart battery that is ideal for charging or taking a charge from the solar panels that's now out, that's $200 or $300 that you know of. Maybe $400 that takes quite the charge. So again, I would need to get an inverter. I have a charge controller. I would need to get the cables and the battery. And I have the panels. And I would be good to go for charging, say, a computer during a blackout. Now, water. Let's make this a half-hour podcast. Now, the food company that I alluded to in recent videos, if you're thinking about getting prepared, right, your first line of defense, the first thing you should do is budget. Nothing wrong with freeze-dried. I have some, but I don't agree with like the mainstream prepper way of doing it. But to each his own, eat what you eat. But don't prep with things that aren't a part of what you normally eat. Because that could be like traumatic to go from like your normal diet to something else. So I showed you recently I have some canned meat. That's not really like portable. You could put it in a car, but not really a backpack. So you got to be prepared to go somewhere if something happens. So just pray to God that you're not going to be displaced. And pray to God that there will be peace in your community. And take my advice. And if you ever do it, send me screenshots as to what you do. You can read my Mediate the Effects of the Solar Flares blog or the book, Solar Wars 2025, if you want. It's just $12.95. It's cheap. It's not a long book. You can read in a few hours, but it's a primer for more books that I'll write later. And I'll work even more on more sources and more original content and more journals. And as people maybe send me stories about, one woman told me about her mother passing. This was a month ago. I thanked her for it. I didn't talk to her deeply because I just don't know a lot of the people that are watching the channel, and they don't know that I have, like, not past life trauma. I not only have past life trauma from probably getting killed for having abilities, I have trauma from people judging me that acted like they liked me. So I'm gun shy of people that even compliment me, because people have turned, so I'm like, people that were my best friends, that I drank with, that I did Molly with, that I hung out with. Some people became flat earthers and turned on me when we physically ate together. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When they physically hung out with me when I was getting on with random chicks in Portland nightclubs, and we would drive around town and stuff and do stuff. Like my friend David in Portland. Why did David in Portland turn on me? Because I didn't become a flat earther. And I was angry with him for not really being there for me when I needed him in my dark moments. That's the problem with a lot of consumer consumer audience members that aren't creators, that are donators. When you become homeless or impoverished, it's widely assumed that you deserve it, or that your quality is so low that that's why you're homeless. And the deep, deep level of shadow banning that happens to some of us, if you listen to the show, you heard me say that a great deal of the comments were deleted on this channel. And other things happened that you may know about if you did some looking regarding sabotage and interference. You might notice that my solar videos don't even come up hardly. It might have changed. It might have changed, right? But like, I noticed for a while when I wasn't active, like, if you're not active online, your good stuff doesn't really pop up necessarily. You have to maintain, I guess, profiles. It's kind of screwed up. You can get around it. So what I'm saying is, like, this is the time of bringing in the intelligence from the geostorm and troubleshooting problems. I was talking about the geostorm coming in and me becoming aware of how to troubleshoot the tech problem. And then all of a sudden I had a tech problem with the audio. And now I'm using the headset. But maybe there really are, like, national or natural explanations for technology going awry. However, like, one email came in from M, who talks about the Prince of the Air energy and the interference that she personally interpreted. Two other people that listened to the show, they told me they did not interpret any interference from their perspective, and they thought that was odd. So could they create interference just for one person too, through a computer? Well, that's pretty sci-fi. Wow. I don't see it as beyond the possibility that certain souls are super powerful that are being observed by strange forces. That phenomena will go on around their computers and their emails. And I told you that I emailed one man in Portland, gave him a piece of my mind, that he doesn't call out certain things because he, as a black man, has profited. He has profited from being in a region of the earth that gave him a chance, which is good, for a number of years. Doesn't mean it didn't face hardship. Means some people have been given a chance, unlike those that came before them. The unfortunate thing is there's other non-white, non-black people that are suffering, that are Americans, that aren't even Muslim, because of this thing that's going on with 9/11 and immigration. And so, yeah, a lot of the immigration coming in is making things difficult for the people that are here. I'm not saying people don't deserve to live. People do deserve to live, but I told you in past podcasts, for those that never heard me, that are new, that if I was running immigration, we would do things totally differently. As far as placement, people would have space. They wouldn't be cramming a bunch of people in northern freaking California. Did you know that they love to do that? That they love to cram a ton of them into, like, these pockets. But really, do you think good old boys would be cool if they want to put them out in the middle of nowhere? I think that we need to do that, though, if they're going to be here. I'm a pro off-gridder, and there's enough space out there that they took over for the government that they own. And in Europe, I heard that they live amongst the trees, so they don't have forest fires like in America. So that would be, the Agenda 21, that's the old school language. Now 2030. But anyway, this whole war on off-grid living, I told you that's one of my main spokes. If you want to go back to the Wayback Machine and see my old work, for those that are data nerds, that like data and info and off-grid stuff, especially for those of you the off-gridders that are listening right now, go to the Wayback Machine, which is where you look at old websites before they were deleted, and go to offgridco.com. And I don't know how many articles are there, but you'll see some news that I began to post because at one point I wanted to build a national movement of people that wanted to be off-grid for this event. Not that I want to be like a celebrity, like their daddy or anything. No, I just want friends. I just want friends, guys. That's all. Not a big deal. Definitely don't want to be a star. But if you want me to rock and roll on stage, seriously, and put on a suit, I rock that way too. I swing that way. I am a brainiac who cleans up well and also gets down and dirty in the dirt and may not shower for a few days, be unshaven, and look straight up like a wild man who isn't even from this country after a few days of being off-grid. Because that's what happens. I metamorphosize. You know what I mean? It's wow. So it wasn't easy, folks, living in Pagosa, and I think you guys are smart enough to realize why. In the post-9/11 world, that was quite adventurous for a guy like me with my background to go up into them hills, and it put hair on the chest. Although I already had enough. Sometimes I want to shave it. Anyways, yeah, we'll do some. We'll sell some posters. We'll do some shirtless. Never mind. I'm kidding. Collector's item, $29.95 Amazon deal. After a few months. Maybe somebody can get me on steroids. I'm kidding, folks. I think the solar flares will be enough. So seriously, what do we think about this idea? Podcasting via a CB radio and going and filming and then broadcasting with the CB radio and then buying rechargeable batteries, AA, 8 of them, and then maybe getting a backup one of these, this exact model, GE, 40 channel, 40 receiver. Okay, so you can do this too, and then see if you can get somebody to listen. Now, if you end up, check this out. Okay, does anybody know how I can transmit low power FM with less than $1,000 from a backyard using the solar panels, using the golf cart batteries? We need two, don't we? And do I need like a little box to wheel it around? And what about theft prevention? Take it in at the end of the night from the backyard, like maintenance stuff, kind of like feeding the pets. So I'm just leaving it out there. This is not a leave it out there type place. Not even in your backyard. They'll jump the fence. They'll jump the fence here, and take your friggin' lawnmower. It's that sort of place. Like in local groups, there's just like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos of people walking up to the cars trying to break into them and smash into them. Every single day I wake up, I look and see if my car's smashed in. Okay, we've got a gangbanger house 4 houses down possibly, or a Section 8 house with one person that followed me that was associated with that house last May. We have it on surveillance camera. We have surveillance footage. Okay. So, in an emergency, last thoughts. We're going to end this before 30. Let you get out before rush hour. In an emergency, you would be surprised how God and angels work through human beings to connect one to another, like randomly in parking lots. You know what I'm saying? In parking lots. Someone could literally get the hit from God. Go to channel 19 right now on your CB radio. Like, right, if there's a blackout, final thoughts. Preparations is to get a CB radio, to get a power source, to get rechargeable batteries, to get solar panels. Okay, and you can do this for under $1,000. Now, after you do that, and you've got your Azure Standard, do you have a water barrel? We'll talk about other stuff later. I have a large water barrel, and instead of just, go back and forth filling up, it's $1.75 here for 5 gallons of water. I have to do more to get healthy water here than I had to do to get free water off grid from the well in Pagosa. That was the benefit of Pagosa. Better water. Not better food, but better water and better air. Trees, but dark energy in the hills, though. Screaming women in the middle of the night. You know that song from the 80s? Screaming in the night. It's a good song. Yeah. So, yes. 55-gallon drum. And then when you get it, you got to clean it. You got to put some bleach in it and some water. Roll it around on the ground. So you probably want to make a phone call to your local water guy and go, yo. And they're going to answer and go, what do you want? Will you deliver? Because your shit's in the fan, yo, and you want to be prepared. Can you deliver? Do you know that? And always tell people stuff's going on. Tell them to read the news, but the right news. And see if you can get water delivered. They'll do this in Pagosa Springs off-grid. There's even people off-grid. Is anybody listening in Pagosa Springs at all? Ryan McPherson, where are you at? Anyways, I'm Alex Ansary. I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. Till next time, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and place of power and peace and wisdom and more and much more still lies within.